June 4, 1942. The skies over Midway atoll were filled with a mixture of anticipation and dread. The battle, which had started with such uncertainty, was now coming to a head. The Japanese fleet, shattered by the unexpected and devastating attack from the B-17 flying fortress, was struggling to mount any cohesive defense. In the wake of the destruction, the Allied forces, bolstered by the success of their initial strikes, were preparing to deliver the final blow. Back on the American carriers, fighter pilots readied their planes. Their mission was clear: finish what the B-17s had started. As the American dive bombers and torpedo planes began their attack on the remaining Japanese carriers, the battle for Midway reached its most intense phase. But the damage had already been done. The Japanese, reeling from the loss of 3 of their carriers, including the mighty Akagi, could not recover in time to mount an effective resistance. The Japanese carrier Hiryu, still operational despite the destruction wrought by the B-17s, was the next target. Allied dive bombers, PBY Catalinas and dauntless dive bombers, swooped down from the skies. The planes came in fast, their bombs falling with deadly precision. In the span of just a few minutes, the Hiryu, the last remaining operational carrier of the Japanese strike force, was reduced to a burning wreck. With it, the Japanese Navy's hopes for a quick victory in the Pacific were dashed. The battle for Midway, which had seemed so promising for Japan just days before, had turned decisively in favor of the United States. As the Japanese fleet began to retreat, the Allied forces celebrated their hard-fought victory. The impact of Midway was immense. The destruction of 4 Japanese carriers, a blow that Japan could not afford to sustain, would reverberate throughout the remainder of the Pacific War. The balance of naval power in the Pacific had shifted, but the victory was not just a result of the successful torpedo and dive bomber strikes that followed the B-17s. The Flying Fortress had played a pivotal role in the initial moments of the battle. By delivering the first devastating blows to the Japanese fleet, the B-17 had created the opening the Allies needed to strike. What had once been dismissed as an outdated aircraft had proven itself to be a key player in the battle that would turn the tide of the Pacific War. For the Japanese, the lessons of Midway were hard to swallow. Their overconfidence had led them to underestimate the capabilities of the American military, and their dismissal of the B-17 Flying Fortress was perhaps their greatest miscalculation. The B-17, slow and cumbersome in their eyes, had delivered one of the most effective blows to the heart of the Imperial Navy. In the aftermath, the American military would go on to further refine its strategies, and the B-17, once mocked, would be remembered as one of the key contributors to the victory at Midway. Though its role in the broader Pacific campaign would soon be overshadowed by more nimble aircraft, its impact on that fateful day would never be forgotten. As the war raged on, the Japanese would slowly lose their grip on the Pacific. Their once pristine carriers and powerful fleets, so critical to their success, would be decimated in battle after battle. And all the while, the B-17, the aircraft they had so arrogantly dismissed, would stand as a testament to the power of American ingenuity and the unexpected turn of fate that had altered the course of history. The Battle of Midway was not just a victory in terms of military strategy, it was a victory of perception and technology. The B-17 Flying Fortress, long seen as a slow-moving relic, had become a symbol of how underestimation and arrogance in war could lead to catastrophic failure. The Japanese had laughed at the B-17 until it delivered the blows that shook their naval supremacy to its very core. The tide of war in the Pacific had forever changed.